Hello guys and welcome to another lesson of the CoffeeScript Foundations course of Rails Karate. As always, follow me on Twitter. I'm at Bastianbelandia. We are also as Rails Karate Twitter. Follow us on Facebook and keep an eye on railskarate.com where you will find the transcript of this video and all the lessons we have made so far. Here is the transcript of the lesson. And of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any of our episodes. So let's start. In this lesson, we'll be talking about a new type of data called Boolean value and logical operators. Well, first of all, make sure you're running the right command for compile from CoffeeScript to JavaScript. So let's type the command because I'm not running the command right at the moment. So let's say coffee dash o. Oh wait, I need first to enter to my client directory, then coffee dash os js dash cw cf. Okay. Oops, I missed an e here at the end. That's it, we are compiling at the moment. Each time we save, we are compiling to JavaScript, okay? So first of all, let's solve the challenge of the previous lesson. So I'm going to solve it. Remember, it was just to let the user guess the number that was generated in the interval he gave. So let's do it. So just after we generate the random number, I'm going to create a new variable called guess number. Let's say a percent prompt. Okay, we ask the user input a number. Then if the guess number is random number, so we make an alert. We say, woohoo, you guessed correctly. Okay, but else, so remember to indent the code. Okay, so alert, you failed, your random number is random number. So we interpolate the random number, and that's it. Okay, so we can delete this. Okay, so let's try it out. So I'm going to make a preview here. So enter first number, I'm going to enter number 1, then number 6, and the guess number, I guess we're gonna get 5, for example. So you failed, your random number is 6. Oh, I've missed here, a small mistake. Number. Okay. Let's recall again. 1, 6. I guess we're going to get 5 again. You failed. Your random number is 3. Great. So we are asking the user to guess the random number. That's what's the challenge. Congratulations for those who could do it or make it. Well, let's start talking about Boolean values. Boolean values are very used in all the programming languages and in logic in general. Are one of the most simplest type of data because, for example, strings can have an infinity of combinations of characters. Same for numbers, you have a lot of numbers. Numbers can be a lot of values, but instead Boolean values can only be true or false. Those are the unique possible values for Boolean data. All the conditions, like this condition or like this condition, are converted, or once they are evaluated, they return or they convert to a Boolean value. So this can be true or false depending on the result of the condition. Okay, so I can say, for example, I can say if true, so do something else do something else. So as conditions convert to Boolean values, we can just type Boolean values in the if statements, but this is just for let you understand that conditions are Boolean values, so they can be converted to Boolean values once they are evaluated. But a part of the conditions, or in addition to conditions, there are other type of data that convert to Boolean values. So I'm going to the article. Here is the list of the Boolean values you will get. So we have an empty string that always converts to false, or is equivalent in Boolean is false. So we have also string with characters, so we can have any kind of string with characters, with any characters, and that is true. That is equivalent to true in a Boolean value. So we can say, for example, null values are false, none, that is not a number, is always false, it converts to false. The number 0 is a false value, and any kind of number different from 0 is a true value. So let me show you what this means. I'm going to open the console here, the JavaScript console. Okay, so let's clear the console. I'm going to paste. Okay, let's paste. So for example, we have here an if statement, and we can put here any of the values I already said. So let's try with one of those. So first, let's try with the empty string. Okay, so let's try with that. Okay, so I'm going to add here an empty string. Let's see if we get a true or false, and we get false. Okay, let's try with string with characters. I'm going to add any kind of characters here. Okay, we get true. So we can add here, for example, just one character, and that will be true. That will be true. Let's see what we get with null values. So let's check it out. I'm going to add here null. So we get a false. What happens if we add a nan value? We get false too. Okay. Okay, what happens if I add here a 0? We get false too. And if I add a 1, we get true. And if I add any kind of number here, we get true. So this is how it works. So we can use this in if statements for simplify our conditions. So I'm going to show you later on how to do this. Alright, now that we know that not only conditions can be used as Boolean values, so let's talk about the logical operators in CoffeeScript and JavaScript. So there are 3 logical operators that we can use, or we need to use in our programs. Those are 3 operators. The first one is the AND. So let me show you. So we have here the AND operator, and its equivalent to, in JavaScript is this one. When you use the AND operator, all the conditions must be true in order to the whole condition be true. If we use OR, its equivalent is these 2 pipelines. These pipes. At least one of the conditions must be true in order to the whole condition to be true. Lastly, we have the NOT operator that just inverts the Boolean values. Its equivalent is just an exclamation point. I'm going to delete this just for a moment. So let's say we want to to check that we are in a login page, for example. So we want to check if the user just enter a username and password in order to go and check to the database. So we can just make the following. So let's say I have username equals to an empty string and password equals to some string. So in this case, the user just forgot to add its username, so we are going to check here. So username, password. So we can say, for example, so we have here username and password variables. Let's imagine that we get this in a login page. So once we get this, we want to check if the user input or enter the username and passwords. It means he didn't left empty one of the fields for login. So if both variables have strings, have a string with characters within it, so we can go to the database and check if the user exists. But else, we show the user a message that he must enter both values, username and password. Okay, this is one of the ways we can use Boolean equivalence here. So we are trying to check, because a string with characters converts to true. So if both strings, if both variables have a string with characters, so we get inside here. Else we know that user forgot to enter one of the fields, information in one of the fields. We can also use this in another way. For example, we can use the not operator and save this else statement. So I'm going to delete this. So we can say f not. So we are using here the not operator, and we use parentheses for indicate that this is a whole condition. So let's say in this case I forgot to add the username. Okay, let's say we continue with the normal flow of the program. Okay, in this case I can say username is false and password is true because it has characters. So this is an AND operation. So one of these is false, so we get a false, because we must have both conditions to be true in an AND operation in order to get true in the whole operation, the whole condition. So we get here false, and with not statement we get this, we convert this to true. So we enter to the if statement and print an error message. So here we can throw an error or whatever, but if we do not enter this condition, we can continue with the normal flow of the program. That means because we enter information, both username and passwords and password. Let's check one use case for the OR operator. So let's say you are building a program here. Answer. Let's say I have a Y. So you are asking to the user yes or not questions. So let's check if the user enter yes or not. There are two ways of answer the questions. You can answer just the Y for indicate yes, or you can type the yes, or you can just type N or no for say no. Okay, so we can check this in this way. So if answer is Y, okay, see this means that we just type Y. Or answer is yes, so that means we answered yes. Else if answer is N or answer is no, the whole word no, so that means we answered no. Take a look that both AND and OR operators need conditions in both sides, one condition in both sides in order to work, because we can say this, for example, If answer is Y or yes, answer is yes. Else, if answer is N or no, answer is no. How when I read it, it sounds that it has sense. However, it's not well written because how I told you, and or operators, they must have a condition in both sides. In this case, we don't have condition in both sides. We have condition here, but we don't have condition here. So that's why we need to write our or and conditions in this way. Now for finish this lesson, let's check that the user enter or input a number and not a letter or whatever. So let's check it out. So first I'm going just to add an AND operator here, and then I'm going to check that the bottom number is different from none, and that the top number is different of none. Remember that when we enter a number, a letter or a string in the parsing function, we get a none back. Okay, so this way we are checking that we don't get a none in both numbers. Also here, when we use this guess number, someone can check. I can make another else if here, else if. So I'm gonna say if guess number is none, so I can enter here a message that says alert. Okay, all the numbers are loud, and I can just copy this and append that to the last string we get here. Second one to the second one, and only numbers are allowed. Okay, both messages are here. I'm going just to make this smaller. Here we are just checking if guess number is not random number. We check if we got an AND. In case we enter here in the guess number, we enter some kind of letter, so we just print the message only numbers are allowed. Else, if we enter a number, so we say to the user, you failed, your random number is the random number. Okay, so let's check it out. So I'm going just to reload here. Let's reload. Let's say I enter a letter A here and then enter a number 5, and we get the error correctly. Then now check in the other way, 1 and 6. Okay, so we enter here a letter, and we get here a message. Okay, let's check it out what happened. Well, so we are getting here a false. When we evaluate this, we get a false, and always print this. Let's check it out. So let's see what happened. I'm in the JavaScript console. So let's say none is equals to none. So we are doing JavaScript here. So let's see if we get true. So none is equals to none. So what we get, and we get a false. So this is just some of the exceptions that CoffeeScript, that JavaScript has. Because if I say 5 different from none, that's truth. But if I say none equals to none, I get a false. They are equal, but for JavaScript this is false. So let's fix our program here. So we just need to add a not statement here, and that's it. Now let's run this. Let's reload. Let's say 1 and 6. I guess number, I guess we got a 4. Oh, sorry. I want to just check that the feature is okay. 6, and I'm going to enter a letter here, some letters. I just need to add some parentheses here for evaluate all this condition and then negate it. Okay, so let's run again. 1 and 6 and not, I mean, yes, whatever. Okay, finally we fixed it, and that's it. You can notice I am using in this step, I'm using different from NaN, but NaN converts to false. It's equivalent to false, so I can delete this. However, number 0 is also converted to false, so it's better to use NaN this condition instead. So we need to be very careful when using Boolean equivalence. This is the last lesson of this stage, so we have a short coffee quiz. Here is the coffee quiz. And in the next stage we'll start talking about one of the most important concepts in CoffeeScript called the functions. If you liked this video, don't forget to click the like button in YouTube. So that's all. See you next stage. Bye bye.